all those figs. Everywhere, everywhere. Good afternoon, everybody. We're getting hammered by Alberto still. The bands of rain just keep blowing through and keep blowing through. That's okay. Plants are loving it, growing like crazy. I haven't been able to do much on the shade house. I got the main rail up on the attached to the building, attached to the house, but I can't put the rest of it up. I don't want to come out here and swing metal poles around when there's lightning and storms occasionally. Probably not the best idea. Everybody's doing really, really well, just sucking up the moisture and growing. They've got some filtered light today. We're a little overcast today, so I don't have anybody covered up. I think they'll be okay. The staghorn's getting used to the light. They got a little sun damage, but those leaves are going to fall off in a couple of weeks anyway. So I think it'll be fine. It's got lots and lots of new growth on it. The bromeliads I got from Sue Lee last fall are just going crazy. They're getting all these gorgeous colors in the leaves. Patterns are coming out. It's growing well now. Lots of babies popping out. I thought I'd sneak out here while it's not raining, just get a quick look and shoot a little footage. Everybody seems to like it. See all the little things sticking up? Those are new fronds popping up everywhere. They go from like this little thing right here. They'll go from that to, well, let me show you one. Like this in just a matter of a couple of days. And then after that, they turn into this in about a week and a half. They grow extremely, extremely fast. And these little things are popping up all over the place. And you can see they're already starting to stretch out. These are new leaves popping out. But it's got lots and lots of new leaves popping out. The little green discs are starting to pop out. And it'll eventually, in about a month's time, it'll have all new leaves. And you won't even be able to see any of that brown. It'll be covered in those little green discs. It'll just keep covering it. Big plant. I got to start working on the new stand for it. That stand is just to give me the dimensions, but I need to get the new stand made for it with some wheels so I can relocate this thing. See, that's a brand new leaf. Look how long it is. It's already 2 feet long. I noticed it's dumping, I noticed on the leaves, see that stuff on the leaves? It's dumping spore. See, it's erupting. Baby staghorns. I had somebody tell me they were growing these from that. They had actually grown some staghorns from this. One of my viewers did. And I find stuff like that fascinating. Anyway, it's doing really well. She's just sucking up the moisture, and I'm working on some new clothes right now. I've got plants moved around, kind of pulled down tight on the wall so they can get the splash up. So I'm making sure they're getting lots of rain splashed up on them. It's flushing all the little pots out, flushing all the mounts off. So I don't have to do it. Mother Nature's been watering for me. I just have to come out and spray nutrients. It's been wonderful the last couple of weeks. Just wonderful. A well-deserved or well-needed break. Deserved, I think I deserved it, yeah. I've been watering them since non-stop inside since November, so I was ready for the break. This has been great. And just mixing up nutrients and spraying is just so easy. And they respond so well with it. I mean, they just really respond well. I don't know what to show or talk about or do anything really. I don't really know what to do other than just a quick look around, show everybody what's going on. Oh, I do know something I will mention. I've got this question a lot in the last couple of weeks, probably from just moving because I moved the plants outside. Look how happy that plant is on that piece of cypress. Just look at it, just oozing out. Just love that. But people are asking me what I'm using for pest control again and how I'm controlling. I got asked again this morning by Opal, what am I doing about slugs and snails? Great question. My mount's on the wall. That rack hangs on the wall, but it hangs off the wall. It's actually hanging out in front of the wall about an inch and a quarter. So even if a slug climbs up there, it really can't get to it. They might find a mount touching the wall every once in a while or something, but I really haven't had any issues with slugs or snails. Same with that tank, that trough right there. I keep plants on top of it and on the lid, and they would have to climb over the brick and up the galvanized steel and up there, and I really have never found a slug or snail on top of that. I'm not sure if it's because of the metal or what, but I've just never had an issue with it. The shade house, they can't get in the shade house unless they either come in on a plant or they have to climb up one of the 4 wheels that touches the ground. It only touches the ground in 4 spots for those 4 wheels. And one of the things I did, and I told you in a previous video that I couldn't turn it on its side or I'd show you what I had done. There's a piece of copper flashing above each wheel. It was put on and then the wheel was put on. So there's a piece of copper flashing between the wheel and the shade house. So any slug or snail that does come up the wheels, and they've been sprayed with stuff, even though they can get past that, if it came up the wheel, it would have to go over that copper to get into the shade house. And I'm hoping that's enough of a deterrent. And I haven't had any issues with it yet. I've never found a snail or a slug in there in the year that I've been using it. A little over a year that I've been using it. So far so good. Now, on plants that are sitting on the concrete, if I come out here at night and look around, and I'm out here a lot looking around at night, just because that's the time to look for creepy crawlers, right? If I come out here at night, the patio is covered with slugs and snails. They're all over the place. The plants survive. If a piece of tissue dies, that's more like what they're looking for. If a leaf or a balloon drops and falls like you see on the ground there between them, that's what the slugs and snails will go after. They will climb up into pots and eat stuff, but if there's plenty of stuff around, that's probably not what they're going to do. If I put plants up here on the wall, if I set my orchids up here on the wall, that would be inviting slugs and snails. If I use a wooden shelf or something on the ground, that's going to invite them to climb up that. I would have to take some kind of precaution. My setup, I don't have any issues with it because of that. I put plants over here on this concrete around the grill and stuff, and I occasionally see slugs and snails on here. I showed one the other day. It was probably 4 inches long on one of my videos. But the plants I have don't really seem to be bothered by them too much. Again, if a leaf drops or falls on here, that's usually where I see the slug or the snail is usually eating something that's dropped or decayed. They're cleaning up, but I'm not saying they won't eat something, but I just don't seem to have the issue. And as far as pests go, on my orchids, last time I sprayed them, and I don't want to start an issue. I don't want to start a bad conversation here. I hope it doesn't. Last time I sprayed my plants was last June, June 17, almost a year ago. I'm coming up on. I sprayed them with Bayer. Imidacloprid is the active ingredient. It's a systemic. It usually lasts 3 to 4 months. And it's great because you can use it 3 or 4 times a year. You're pretty much covered. It's a great product. I've used it for years. I've never had any issues with it whatsoever. I didn't spray my orchids when I brought them in last fall, but I did spray my other house plants, and even still, they came up with. I wasn't able to take care of them, so other people were taking care of them at the time, and I lost most of the Rex begonias, the croton, things that were living in there in the grow room with the orchids. I lost all those plants. Spider mites, mealybugs, just ate them to pieces. The orchids, not a problem. I don't have a mealybug or an aphid or a scale or spider mite or anything on them. I'm not having issues at all with any of the plants. Knock on wood again. I think the main reason is since I brought them in last fall, I've been pumping these plants full of calcium. For the last 9 months, they've been getting a lot of calcium, and they're real thick, they're hard, they're crisp, they feel like plastic. I mean, they're really, really hard. If I was an insect like a spider mite or an aphid and my job was to stick my little thin mouth part into a plant's leaf, I'd probably struggle on these guys. I'd probably start looking for something that was diseased or something that was struggling, keeping itself hydrated. Something more like this. You know what I mean? So if your plants are weak and can't hydrate and are having nutritional issues, they're going to be susceptible to mealybugs and spider mites and aphids and scale. The only thing I can attest to is the calcium. All the plants are growing, doing really, really well. What few issues I have are minor and usually, and I think caused by pH issues on the mounts and stuff like that I've explained before. But other than that, I'm not having any problems with any plants. I'm just trying to get rescues and stuff to start growing again. But even on that, I'm noticing, just incredible growth. Lots of new roots and new shoots, and look at that new bulb putting out a growth. Isn't that crazy? And look at that. New growth, another new cane, new roots. That's that dendrobium. Ever since I started using calcium, the difference has just been overwhelming. I mean, just overwhelming. I can't emphasize people give their plants calcium enough. I don't want to get into all that right now, but the calcium is what's making me make that decision. To answer the question, I'm not spraying my orchids with anything at the moment. I'm trying to stay away from pesticides and stuff because of my health issues. Not that it would matter now, but I still don't want to handle them. If my plants are strong enough and I think nutritionally balanced, and I don't think they're nutritionally balanced perfectly, no, they're still struggling. Some of them are still struggling with some issues. I'm still learning. I'm new to orchids, remember. But I think if their calcium is built up in them enough, their cell structure is strong enough, I think they can resist pests, most of the pests that they come across. And again, I got to ask that big why question: is why is nobody spraying these in the wild and they've managed to survive for eons and eons and eons? Outside, out of the greenhouses, living on the trees. I know they get munched on occasionally. I know they occasionally get munched on, but they seem to do really, really well without it. I'm not having any problems. I have to keep an eye out. I have to be vigilant, and I have to the one or two plants that I have that aren't 100% healthy, that aren't doing, that are having some issues or still recovering from being remounted. I need to watch those guys a little bit closer, probably. Yeah. But again, to answer the question, no, I'm not using anything. I'm going to see what Mother Nature can do for it right now, and I'm trying to follow that program as tightly as I can, as closely as I can. Just lots of roots all over that one. I'm just amazed. Every time I come out, I'm amazed at how much they're growing, how fast they're growing. Everything I've ever read says that they're such slow growing plants, and I beg to differ. They may not be actively growing all the time, but when they are growing and they're actively growing, they grow pretty fast, I think. Look at the fat shoot coming off that one. Oh, I wish I'd have got that out of that little pot. Well, we might just break that one with a hammer later on or something like that. But look at that big growth coming out. Beautiful. BLC Hawaiian Ruby Paradise Purple. That was one of those little tiny bag babies last fall. It grew one new growth. Now it's got another. But plants are kind of bunched up in here right now because of the weather. We're expecting some worse than what we've got now. We're expecting over the next 2 days, 2.5 days. So we're expecting some really rough weather over the next 2.5 days. And I've just kind of got plants kind of shoved together tight. And I'm out here checking on them all the time and rearranging, moving some around. But everybody looks beautiful, is doing well. I don't have a complaint, not at all. And I'm definitely okay with the weather. Well, let me let y'all go. Or I'll just keep rambling and just keep looking around and forget what I'm doing. This is that Bruce Gordon, Dendrobium Bruce Gordon. Check out the roots coming out of this thing. It's got some crazy looking roots. They've got this coppery bronze color and then these bright green tips. I mean, they're beautiful roots for a root. I mean, everybody likes to see roots, but these are just, a root is typically not what's colorful, you know what I mean? That's really remarkable. Seems to really like that piece of cypress too. This is that nodosa I took off that red mount a couple of weeks back and put it on this piece of cypress, and look at the growth. I mean, that right there is makes me really confident that whatever's on that red oak, whether it was the red oak itself, the acid in it, or the pH was wrong, or the chemicals that it was putting off, or whatever, but I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 new shoots, and they're putting out nice new roots like that. I'd say that's a pretty good sign that it was waiting for something like that to happen. As much as I didn't want to pull those plants off the mounds, every one of them I pulled off has rebounded quickly. Very, very quickly. Much faster than I thought. I mean, in a matter of, some of them started growing root tips within days. And the others have all turned around since I've done that, all of them. Well, again, let me get going. Epiphyllums look good. They're just doing their thing. They don't stay outside. They're just out here getting some sun and warmth. Other than that, they're sitting in the grow room on the other side of this window, actually getting light through the window. I just don't want them to get soaked. They were damp when I put them in the mix, and I haven't watered them since. They're just going to stay in that mix just like that. I'm just going to watch and see what happens. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Thank you so much for all the kind comments and all the wonderful thoughts. I really, really appreciate it. Thanks for all the questions, and thanks for helping each other. You know, nothing does my heart better than to watch people helping each other on the channel. Lots of just crazy roots. That is a happy plant too. This one's doing really, really well too. This is a bright yellow one, a really pretty yellow fowl that I'd never seen one like it before. I was really happy to find it, so I'm happy that one's doing well too. Well, let me go again. I keep trying to go and I keep talking and chattering, so thanks again, everybody. Have a great day.